Welcome back to the Leashed Mind podcast. I am your host, Mandy Boutelle. On today's episode, I have a conversation with one of my very dear friends, Erin Marion from Down to Earth Dog Lady. Erin is a certified professional dog trainer specializing in working with deaf, blind, and disabled dogs. Erin shares her evolution from running a dog hiking business to her deep engagement in training special needs dogs, highlighting both the rewards and challenges of her work. She discusses the concerning trend of increased disabled dogs due to overbreeding and the emotional toll of her profession, including dealing with burnout and personal mental health struggles. The conversation also covers Erin's personal life, discussing her relationship and experiences as part of the LGBTQ plus community. This episode provides an intimate glimpse into Erin's professional and personal journey, blending her dedication to dog training with her own life experiences. Like me, Erin has PMDD, and so I know firsthand, and for those of you that have listened to episode 3 of season 1, where I discuss my own journey with my PMDD diagnosis, you will get how hard that is. So we commiserate, but also bond over that topic. We explain how that has really affected our time and being business owners and having the bandwidth to do things when that affects us. And also discussing how she didn't really ever choose to specialize in working with deaf, blind, and disabled dogs. It kind of just fell into her lap because she was finding that there were so many deaf, blind, and disabled dogs, and there weren't a whole lot of resources for dog owners that are having these dogs in navigating training and adjusting to the world with having a dog that is deaf, blind, or disabled. That I know a lot of times we talk about how in this profession, there is a toll on our mental health because we are the support system for our clients. But then adding on the layer of trying to help educate and better serve clients that have disabled dogs and helping them not feel so bad, because it's very easy to beat ourselves up. So being that emotional mental health crutch for clients in that regard as well really bogs us down. So Erin and I, like this conversation, there is so much laughter and cackling, but it also gets very real. We both tear up over certain topics, but it's just, it's a very good feel-good episode, and I know you're going to love it. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the Leash Mind podcast. I have Erin here from Down to Earth Dog Lady. Erin, oh my God, I'm so excited to talk with you. Like, you are one of my dear friends. I hold you so close, and I'm just having you on this podcast is just even more exciting. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
I get so giddy at the thought of you. So hopefully all the listeners will be able to hold their volume down with our cackling throughout this episode. But thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so excited. I'm ready to just share some personal stuff and just get into it with you. So thank you so much.
Yay. Awesome. Well, yeah, I know there's probably going to be way too much laughing, and our cheeks are probably going to be sore after this, but it's a good thing. This is how
I know,
most of
and I
our
was
meetings go too.
I know when I was listening to the other episodes, I was like, oh man, no one's got a loud laugh like I do. So
So, for those that may not, I feel like at this point it's really hard, especially with how we work together. If people don't know who you are, please, can you just share a little bit of info about Down to Earth Dog Lady and how you really started to work with more deaf, blind, disabled dogs? Because I know you kind of just fell into that a little bit.
I did completely. Yeah. So my name is Erin Marion. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, knowledge assessed, and I'm also a Karen Pryor clicker training partner. I started the Down to Earth Dog Lady out in Oregon, actually. So for all of my Oregon people listening to this, I'm one of you. I started as a dog hiking business, and then I started to foster deaf dogs from the organization Deaf Dogs of Oregon, and I just fell in love with it. I thought the idea of not being able to use your voice at first with just fostering deaf dogs was really cool. I can be kind of an anxious person, and sometimes I would have a shaky voice, or I wouldn't feel confident in my cues, or that maybe I couldn't click at the right time, and so taking that part away from it was kind of interesting for me. And then when I fostered my first deaf and blind dog, that's when I was like, holy frick, this is this is a whole nother ball game of training and there's not a lot of information out there. And I was blown away at what this dog had taught me about more so even about myself, about we can talk about different types of petting and the way to go about things and just to energetically kind of be in tune with the dog and how much energy you put into them comes out to you. And it was just a life changing experience overall. And I felt comfortable with the training and that I wanted to push myself in that area. And it just, again, like you stated, I just kind of fell into it. So 6 years later, that is now all that I pretty much do is work with these dogs. I wish I could say it's cool that I'm so busy, but it's a shame too because there shouldn't. I will say this in the nicest way. There shouldn't be this many deaf and blind dogs right now. I think we'll talk about this, but when I was over in Norway for my wedding, I didn't see a single disabled dog, or I didn't see, I mean, everything was like a purebred, very well behaved dog. And the breeding rules are extremely strict over there. I obviously dove into it.
Oh, I'm
And
sure. That's super
it was,
fascinating.
it was, and it's just a shame a little bit that we're so overbreeding so much that now we have so many of these dogs that, again, I love my job. I love that I'm busy, but at the same time, I should.
I think that's really huge that you can acknowledge that though, because I'm sure a lot of people that are like, oh, I get all these deaf blind dogs and they're all my clients and it's awesome and I'm busy. But acknowledging that, like, statistically and historically, this should not be the case and this should not continuously happen. And it's happening because of poor breeding. And, yeah, it's giving you work, but at the same time, it's still a disservice to the dog community. No matter how incredible these dogs are, it's still something to acknowledge. And I think that's huge.
Thanks for saying that. It's not an easy thing to say because
Sure, it sounds heavy, feels heavy.
and you feel bad for these dogs. I mean, they don't know they're any different. I think Darla has the coolest life ever, but
She seems like the happiest dog. Her and
she
Clark.
totally is. Yeah, they are. And all my clients have very happy dogs. I mean, not every case is successful, which is, I'm sure, something we'll talk about today. But it's a disservice to their breed. And again, I think we've come really far from how we used to treat them 10 years ago, where
Sure.
we, would euthanize them right away. And now we're kind of giving them a chance, but that doesn't mean it's okay. And I don't think social media helps. I don't think that I mean you see them a lot on social media now, and I love social media and we can come together and with shared experiences of having these dogs, but I want to say this in the nicest way. It kind of seems like a bit of a fad right now. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of these dogs on the internet, which is great. I don't want to fulfill that, but again, it's just kind of like, oh wow, okay, there's really that many out.
Right, really, it's like, well, okay, great, there's more of a community and we're finding each other, but at the same time, it's like, wow, okay, why are there's a lot of us? And it's awesome to see so many people navigating life with their disabled dogs, but at the same time, it's just like, wow, there's so many of them. And how many of these people were able to work with a trainer as incredible as yourself? Or, it's not a lot of people specialize in this. And I'm sure more are now because there are so many more, but I feel like you guys are really just at the beginning of it because we're finally talking about disabled dogs more and not even enough, honestly. And so it's just that's hard to navigate. And social media, I feel like it magnifies things, not always in the best light. And so sometimes you see every angle of it where it's just like, okay, we see a lot of balance training and different training sides, and then we're throwing in deaf and blind dogs into that. And where does that get muddled into the middle of it? And it's just there's so many different hairs that can be split with that aspect alone.
Completely. And there really isn't a lot of us. And as you mentioned with your interview with Dr. Chris Pockle, it seems as though we're still a bit competitive. I think I have one mentor, Deb Bauer, who I absolutely adore, and she actually is kind of the person that started everything. She wrote a book on deaf and blind dog training, and she's actually my neighbor. She lives like 20 minutes away. I feel so
Oh,
lucky.
that's awesome.
And she has been so kind. We talk about cases together. We do dog dancing with our deaf and blind dogs together, and I feel so at home with her. There's also some people from Keller's Cause that I have connected with, and again, Deaf Dogs of Oregon. But other than that, that's it. I don't really know anybody else I can share my stories with. And I've almost gotten closer with my clients and sharing our stories. And like a touch of Aston, Miriam and I are almost like
Yes.
besties now because Aston and Darla are virtually one and the same, and we
Right.
share a lot of the same experiences. And I love that you asked me to be on this podcast because sometimes this isn't meant to say in a very positive light, but you cross that line as a professional with your clients because you become friends and you become like
Right.
they're your support system as much as you are theirs. And so it sometimes those lines I will say get blurred because I feel safe with them. Like
Right.
I
There's a
can
deeper connection.
struggles. Yes, and I can share my struggles. Hey, I have to cancel today's lesson. Darla just had a seizure. I'm just like mentally tapped out, and all of them will understand. Or I can call Miriam and I call each other. Just hey, how's Aston doing? I saw that he had a seizure, or she'll check in on me, and it's a support group more than anything. But they start off as your client, you
That's
know.
so weird. And then they just become a part of like your everyday life because you share that connection and you bond on it. Yeah. And and it's also like the community isn't that huge. And so
No.
being able to like even just connect with your client, I'm sure they appreciate you because they're hearing you feel the like, same things they experience. And they're just like, okay, great. I'm not alone in this. Like even my trainer who has
Yeah.
a background in this is on the same page as me. And so I'm sure that just makes them feel more comfortable with it and more reassured that like this is normal as it can
One
be.
Completely. And I think one of the most common sentences I say in some of my client lessons that I feel very connected to is I go, okay, I'm going to take my dog trainer hat off and my friend hat on. Right. Because I want them to know that I get it. Like I have been there. I have seen it. And I think that's again why someone asked me in a different podcast, why did you name Down to Earth Dog Lady? Down to
Yeah,
Earth
why
Dog
did
Lady.
you? I mean, you are very down to earth.
Yeah, I wanted to just put it out there that I'm a little off the cuff. I slap around some curse words. I just wanted to be a friendly neighborhood resource that
Approachable.
and that is there to share experiences with you, to have you feel safe, to feel like you can vent to. Sometimes that gets me in trouble though, because sometimes I give so much of myself
Right.
to my community and to my clients that, in my own relationship, I've had to learn that the do not disturb portion of my phone is like a good friend of mine,
And it
and
does work.
yeah. That is a part of me that sometimes being a dog trainer who focuses on deaf and blind dogs, it is not even about the dog sometimes. A lot of the times it is not about the dog. It is coaching that human to pick their head up the next day because yes, their dog might have a seizure, but it will be okay. Or their dog won't stop spinning and they don't know what to do. Or, they're waiting 4 or 5 months out for the veterinary behaviorist and I'm the only resource to talk to. And so again, when I say the lines get blurred, I mean this all in the most joyous way, but that's one of the mental health things that I've had to work through is okay, you've given so much of yourself to everyone else in a good way, but like how do you give that back to you? Because one of the things I personally severely struggle with is who is Erin without the dog lady? Like who is
Oh my
Erin
god,
without the
yes.
down to earth dog lady?
Oh my god, yes. Well, it's so I wanna crack that open big time. Because it's so and I feel that with woof culture,
Yeah.
there are a lot of times where I'm just like, "Am I woof culture or am I Mandy?" Because it's,
Yeah.
"Am I my business?" And I'm sure you feel that because you are having to give so much to your clients and yeah, in the best way possible, you are their support system, but I know how that can really wear on you, and I don't wanna say I mean, it can deteriorate your mental health, but I don't mean that in a way to upset the clientele or the
Yeah.
community. It does wear on you, and we do need to focus on the trainer aspect of this, that it's not necessarily the best thing to give so much of yourself to your clients when you need the time for yourself, you need time to recharge, you need time in your relationship, and when you don't have that time to recoup that and take the time for yourself, I feel and I say this all from personal experience, it's you just keep spinning and spinning, and you keep helping. And then it's just like, when are you going to crash? Because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
long explanation there for me, but how I'm sure you've gotten burnt out during that process. And I'm really curious to hear just kind of how that went and when you noticed it and what it looked
No,
like.
that was a great explanation. Long or short, it was perfect.
Thank you.
And it has happened. It's happened multiple times because I give myself so much to the down to earth dog lady that it doesn't really leave room of like, well, what else do I like to do?
Right.
It almost doesn't leave room for hobbies. It almost, or if your like one of my hobbies is to train my dogs, but do I train my dogs without having to post it? Do I have, like, because to
It's
me,
always
everything,
content.
it's like always a learning opportunity for somebody else. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it doesn't leave room to feel like who is Erin, you know? And I'm so hard on myself. I feel like for my whole life, and if Jay was behind me, Jay would be like, you know, he's shaking their head. If anyone's just listening, I'm shaking my head right now because sometimes and I even said this like 2 days ago, sometimes I get lost that I'm like average at everything else in my life, but I'm really good at dog training, right? Like I'm like so like I was like a BC student all through my life. I was very average. I didn't really excel at school.
Oh,
Nor
same.
do I like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like don't have the attention span for school sometimes. I can do like dog training school,
Because it's hands
but
on. Yeah.
like, that's the thing, is like, there doesn't leave sometimes I just you get so obsessed that I'm really, really good at this one thing because people tell me I'm so good, or I'm on some list for top dog trainer, or I'm so like, you get all these positive affirmations all the time that you're so good at this one thing. It doesn't leave room to be, like, average at other things, and so
Right.
or even not good. You posted something to be like I think it was like
Be brave enough to be bad at something new.
yeah, I saw that and was like, "Oh, that hit hard."
Oh,
Like, it's so
I
no,
didn't
in a
mean
good
it
way,
to.
in a good like, in such a good way, because 'cause I'm like, I just strive to be I think my whole life I struggled. I was, like, average at the piano. I was average at music. I was average at art. Like, I was pretty good at photography, but I never saw it through, and this is the one thing in my life that I saw something through, and I love it, and now it's like, it's tunnel vision, you
Right.
know? And so I'm trying to allow the space to have this is gonna sound turtle to have hobbies, you know, to like have something that doesn't involve dogs. So I'm really passionate about my horse. And like even when I go to the farm, I don't bring my phone. And like even
Good.
yesterday, I only had 30 minutes of time. So I just went to the farm. I went into the pasture. I like scratched all her itchy spots and sprayed her fly spray and like just hung out. And then I couldn't have time for anything else. But it was like a mental health checkout. And it was
Right.
no fun. It was just Erin, you
How'd
know.
that feel?
It feels again, it's like I have to stop beating myself up so much because at the end of the day, I was like, oh my God, spent time with Kachina. I'm so happy. But I didn't work her or I didn't get her out of the past. Like
Oh.
it's like this sinking hole where I just have to be like, no, you did bonding activities. That's okay. You
And
know, or
how many times do you say that to your clients?
all or if like so I'm really into plants now. That's like my other hobby, right? And but if a plant dies, I've had to be
Oh,
like,
no.
yeah, I'm a failure. Really, like, oh, see, can't do this. It's like I have to allow the space, like, okay, Erin, it's just one thing. Good. You can try again. Maybe you know, and it's like, but if you think about it, all of these hobbies I'm choosing to take on are things I have to take care of. Well, that's another so I have to
Oh
like
my God.
realize that I like there's something about me nurturing things and taking care of things that I find my best self in, but I have to like still be like I still have to recognize that all these hobbies I'm still choosing are me giving myself to something and taking care of something, and I have to still be kind about that.
Have you ever made a terrarium?
Oh my God, that's like Jay wants to get into that so much. I would love to. I think it
I
sounds like
have,
so like therapeutic.
if anyone's watching on YouTube, like,
Ah, I love
I
it.
have like an entire one I've made. You don't need to take care of it. You leave it there and it's there. But like that is very therapeutic. I have like a couple terrariums and I love doing it. So highly recommend that.
I love that. And it's plants.
It is plants,
I
but they
love
won't
that.
die on you and they're self-sustaining. You put them in there and you're just like, let you do your thing. That was
If
a little
anyone can
tangent.
see it, if anyone can see me on YouTube, I like the thing.
But it's Oh, wow. The fact that you said most of your hobbies are nurturing things, I didn't even connect that with myself because it's my garden, my houseplants, doing something with fern or fig, or, baking something for someone or cooking something for someone.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting you pointed that out because Mondays are my Sundays. And for the first time in months, I just doodled. I
Love that.
doodled on an art pad and I never do that. I think it sucks, but I was sick of doing coloring books. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to draw a bunch of squiggles and then I'm just going to color them in. And Josh came around the corner. He's like, oh, you doodling? And I was like, yeah, I need to get my mind out. And he was like, I love that. That's great. And I spent like 2 hours just doodling and I felt so much nicer afterwards. And I'm just like, why can't I do this for myself during the day? There's no reason that I can't, but I don't allow myself that space.
And it's so hard to not go down into the like when I do art,
Self-deprecation. Yeah.
like, oh, this sucks. This is ugly. Like,
Not meant to go in a gallery.
really, like, why can't I even just give myself that? Like, even like I love to. Jay bought me all these beautiful paint, like a whole paint set for Christmas. It was so cool, and I still like when I do art, I have to let go of like this could be anything. Just let go. Like, it doesn't
Yes, it's
have to be
so
like a certain thing.
hard.
It's so hard to not be like, okay, well, this is the fuggliest thing I've ever seen. Like, so I I just have to the self-deprecating thoughts are really hard to battle when you feel like when you get so many, I don't know if accolades is the right word, but when you get so much like, "You're so good at this, you're so good at this." It's so hard to not self-deprecate for everything else you do in your life. Like, even Jay pointed out what I've been cooking a lot more. I'm, like, finding little recipes. It's like I'm really into cooking. I'm really into, like, these new recipes. But each time we sit down to eat, Jay is like, "You will find something to point out about the food that I would have like, the other day when I was like, "Oh, I
Oh
love."
my God, is Jay Josh? Because
Like, I was like, "Oh, the mushrooms aren't cooked, enough." And Jay was like, "Erin, I would have never known that. Like, it's fine."
right.
It's like, "It's great. It's really good. Like, I would tell you if it's like a poopy taste, but this is really good real, you know?" And so and I think I get that from just I'm an only child. And so I think,
Me
yeah,
too.
my mom had a really tough Italian mom. And so I think you just hear how people in your family self-talk sometimes. And I think
Yes.
it subconsciously just kind of like flows into you without you knowing.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
very grateful to be in a healthy relationship like you are, and to feel like, okay, I can take what you just said and know, like, yes, I'm just using these self-deprecating moments and I just need to let go of that.
Oh, girl, we could go down a whole rabbit hole of
I love
generational
it.
trauma and like
Yeah.
but that's true, and I think that's something we don't talk about enough. It's we have these role models and however they talk to themselves and that we see growing up because at a certain age we start taking everything in and that they may not see that in the moment, but 20, 30 years down the line, we're, self-deprecating and telling ourselves we suck at everything when it's like we do so many amazing things. I have seen your plant room and how you have painted that and it looks incredible. I've seen your garden. I've seen how you set up your training space. Yes, that's for training, but the space itself looks amazing. So, the collaborations we've done together, like there are so many things I can tell you that you are good at. Uh, but
Soak this in.
yes. But it's hard when so many people will tell you that you're so great at this one thing that you're known for. I know that firsthand. And you get into your head of that's all I'm good at. That's my identity. That's, I guess this is where I'm at and I can't do anything else because this is what people like me for. This is what
And
I'm
that
known
was
for. Like,
I mean, nail on the head. And I think when Darla was at a point before we left for our wedding trip that she was having seizures every 2 weeks. And I think I cracked because again, I can be sometimes a little controlling, like no one can take care of the dogs like me.
you care so
And
much. That's what it is.
I do. And with trans rights right now, we're just not sure about children. I'm going to be vulnerable and share that. And we have that talk pretty much every day. And so I would love to be a mom. So right now I'm like totally happy being a dog mom, but I'm very like mama bear. And when Darla was going through her seizures, it provoked so much anxiety in me to watch her go through that
I'm
I
sure.
had to vocalize like, Jay, I need you to handle her and I will handle the other two dogs. Like I will take care of Clark, I will take care of Dahlia, but like I can't handle taking
Team
care of her.
effort.
It's so
Yeah.
much for me to watch. That felt awful. Like,
Why? Passing it off to Jay?
yeah, it was like it was like I coach people every day how to handle their dogs with their seizures, and I tell them what to do. I give advice on how to handle your dog, how to handle post seizure, what to do during a seizure, and yet I can't even handle it. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, what, you know? And that was a hard chapter. It was like, I mean, I feel very awesome. Like, I feel so great that I'm in a super healthy relationship. We had great communication. Jay felt this sense of like, yeah, like let me take
Let me
care of the
tap in.
dogs.
Yeah.
But for
They're like,
me,
"I've been waiting for this."
literally. Yeah, and but for me, it was like, again, Erin, you suck. You can't even take care of your own dog during a seizure. Like, what is wrong? And so that was kind of a hard chapter to go through for myself. And that was so recently. I think now she's had so many, I'm a little desensitized to them. But in the beginning, it was like I would get sweaty, I would get anxious, I would
I'm
get like I
sure.
couldn't, and it was so hard for me to watch because they're
Well,
grand mal. They're so intense.
but Erin, you're instructing so many people on how to go through this. You're how do I say this? You have to go to that mental state, and so many of us that have done training have to do this, where we push whatever our experience is to the side, and we really crack it open for the clients and say, like, "This is how you need to handle this. This is what you do." And so you're teaching, you're instructing, you're putting yourself out there constantly in that way of showing up for your clients in that way. That doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. You're just
Yeah.
fucking burnt out. That's what it is, and I say that with the absolute most love possible because
Yeah.
that's what that is. It's, it's putting ourselves out there so much for the clients, and then it's like, "Oh, I suck because I can't do this with my dog." And it's like, "No, I am at my wit's end. I do so much for so many other people that I am just tapped out. My glass is empty. There are no drops coming out. It's dry, and, like, someone needs to pour back into my cup."
Well, and there's that separation of like, as much as I love all my clients, like they're all my dogs, it's not my dog, right? It's not
Right.
like it's
It's different
and
when it's your own personal baby.
and watching her, like it just was so I didn't sometimes I don't know how to explain my anxiety. Even Jay will be like, "You're so calm right now." And I was like, I wish you could crack my head open and just sit in it for a second
Or
because
just
my head
watch
is
my
like
heart and my lungs, like, you're like
I'll
the
be like,
silent anxiety, like me.
the PMDD episode really hit home because I suffer from severe PMDD. I was actually on medication for it like 10 years ago. And there's some days there's just like, I can't get out of bed. Just like
Yep.
the blinds are closed. I lock the bedroom door and it's hard for me to explain what's going on because I don't even know. I'm like, this is the worst day of my life and nothing has even been, but then my period comes or my cycle comes and I'm like, okay, I can see the rainbows and the sunshine again.
But that
But
week before and week of,
oh,
it's like
oh,
someone threw a soaking wet, heavy down
yeah,
comforter on you and you can't take it off. I had no idea you had PMDD. How have we not talked about this?
I know. Well, I didn't. It's society kind of makes you think you're what the like crazed woman syndrome or and I
You're
use
just
the
a
word
hormonal woman.
yeah, and I know we both use the term woman like really loosely, but like
Yes.
yeah, it didn't feel I don't know. I also had like a traumatic episode happen when I was in college. I got diagnosed with PMDD and I was on medication for it. And I got pulled over for like running through a stop sign when I was like 22 or something. And the cop like took the medication and like poured it all out and was like, "What is this? Like what are you, thought I was like carrying drugs around." And so I was like, "That's my medication, but what are you doing?" And then I mean like this like man's hands are all over it. So, and I remember like quickly going off the meds because I was like, okay, I don't ever want to experience something. I don't want to do that
Oh,
again.
God.
And I've had a really, sometimes I feel like my cycle runs my life.
Yep.
And I think society, like when I started getting migraines a year ago, it was almost easier to tell people I had a migraine than I was going through a PMDD episode because it was like more believable. Like as terrible as
I
that
hate
sounds.
that. No, it's so true, and it's so awful. Oh, this is like we should go on a
I
whole,
know.
like, other episode of that. I'm like, "Wow." But
This isn't even dog training at this point.
but I think that a lot of the times, like and so many people that have listened to that episode have told me, like, "Oh my god, everything you listed, I didn't know PMDD was a thing," or they're like, "I wasn't taken seriously," and it's like, "Yeah, I was fighting my doctors for 8 years to get an answer when my psych, all she had to do was get my blood tests and check my cycle with me, and I was able to notice like, "Oh, yeah, no, it is." And it's like, fuck. Like, it's so awful being somebody that has those reproductive parts fucking up our brain.
So much so. Like I check it. And when you were telling me that you check in with Josh, I was like, oh my God, once again, we're one and the same person. I had to check in with Jay every cycle and be like, okay, this, and I categorize them. I'm like,
Yes.
this is a painful cycle. Like my cramps are really terrible. I'm struggling pain wise. Or some cycles I'm like, okay, this is a mental cycle. I feel I'm trying to use the right word. I feel crazed. I feel jittery. I feel, and then
Erratic,
I'd say, yes.
unpredictable, yeah.
And then I'd say like twice a year, probably a little bit more frequent than that, I will have episodes where it is just there is no getting out of bed that day.
Nope.
There was like it's just sleep and trying to watch trash TV to get away from these terrible thoughts that cycle through your head. And I feel really grateful for how in tune my dogs are with me. And every generation of dog that I've had has been very in tune with that with me. And that's actually become so I've taken what I've experienced through PMDD, and every day for an hour, I go into my room with my dog, shut the lights off, and just like no phone. And for an hour, I just either try to sleep or I just try to lay with them.
Just try
And
to
because,
breathe.
yeah, because that pressure that they put on me very natural. I mean, and it's become like a routine for them. Like it's so interesting.
I bet you're
Although
regulating, like, them too.
I think I am too, because Darla has her spot, Clark has his spot. They're usually like sandwiching me. And they stay the whole time in their same spots. And then like an hour later, when they hear the alarm, we all get up and it's like we go back to our lives or to our life. So it's like it's I have to just shut my system down for an hour. It's like I've listened to all your episodes and what other people do, and I think like I can't even do yoga. I can't even it just has to shut
No,
down.
not when you're
Like
in that state.
yeah.
See, you're better than me in that aspect because I am someone that will just keep raging.
Hey, it took a long time to get here. I mean, even even Jay calls it my chill time. Jay, like, "You gonna go have chill time?"
I love
But
that.
it's if I didn't have the chill time by 9 p.m., I then remove that time with my partner because I'm so burnt out from
You're
the
so
day
frantic and frazzled.
that it's like I'm asleep, and Jay's like, "Okay, I'm still up for, like, another 2 hours." So
Nice seeing you, babe. Yeah.
literally. And I'm finally in a point in my life that I'm in the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. And I think before I will say this because to all my, if any of my exes listen to this, I love you all to different degrees, but I think before I never put in that effort. It was all about the dog lady. It was all about Erin. It was all about, I got to work. I got to pay the bills. You just kind of come next after that. Whereas now I'm like, okay, first off, I'm fucking married. There's like
Different
and
dynamic.
totally. And I feel so incredibly supported by you that you show me there is an Erin without the dog lady, and I want to show that to you and to myself. So it's like past, a certain point at night, it's the no phones, it's the cuddling, it's the let's watch a nature show, it's let's play cards, let's play a board
Just
game and
quality time.
go up. And I
Yeah.
think like even coming back from Norway and my schedule's been kind of a lot, like kind of, I'm gracefully going back into life. I still have the chill time because I'm like, I still want to make sure that by dinner time on, I'm present.
That's interesting. So when do you notice that you need the chill time? Is it a specific time of day every time? Like, do you
Always.
notice, like, it's a certain
Yeah.
window that you hit?
It's
Hi there.
it's always between 4 and 5:30. Like every
That's
day.
where my brain, like, just goes on me.
Literally, just like total, just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's like even before this podcast, I took 20 minutes of chill time just to like, switch the gears. I'm
Yeah.
done with daycare. I have a daycare at my house for anybody who doesn't know who I am. And then, okay, even Clark and Darla, like they came in with me, even though it was 20 minutes. Like it was just that, like, on to the next thing for the next part of the day.
I love that you do that and take that time for yourself. That's such a huge step in self-care that you may not acknowledge that or notice that, but it is. That's huge, and I need to work on that, and maybe this will be the inspo I need because Josh does that. He'll do that.
Nice. I love that.
His brain, he like around noon or 1, he starts because we have ADHD. And so
Yeah.
our medication will start to around then. And he'll be like, I'm going to take my second medication dose, but I need to go get in control of my breathing. And so his way of doing it is he needs to go put his eye mask on, lay on his bed, and just like get
Oh, I love
back
that.
because he feels that. And then he tells me to do that. And I'm like, I can't go do that.
I know,
I
and
can't.
and it's funny because we compare ourselves to others all the time. Like Jay's chill time is actually to go work out, and I love that for Jay. Like the whole garage is a whole workout studio, and I get Jay's listening. I get jealous sometimes because I'm like, oh my god, like I would love to have a fit ass body like you do, and like I really would love to go work out like that, but I would be so tired by the time it's like 8 p.m. if I did that. Like, even when I go horseback riding, I'm tired afterwards, and
It's
so
physically and mentally exerting after training all day.
yes, and for Jay, it's like a it's their chill they get really amped up and, like, energized from it, and so the circling back to the self-deprecating, like, I'd have to be like, "Erin, it's okay that your chill time
Different.
is different."
Different
Yeah,
folks, different strokes. And that's
totally.
supposed to rhyme. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It did in my brain.
But that's so true, and I feel like that's so many of us get so burnt out because we aren't taking the time for ourselves, and I love that you say you have your chill time, and I think that can look so differently for so many other people, you know? For me, I'm trying to think what my chill time is, and really, I think it's getting to go hang out in the garden with Fern and Fig. You know, I put Fig on his long line, I just let him go hang out somewhere. Fern likes to suntan, and then I'll sit there and read a book. I've been so into reading lately, and I've been wondering why, and it's because I get out of my head. I silence all the overthinking and stuff, and when it starts happening while I'm reading, you know, because a lot of us that'll happen, I'll be reading a sentence, and then my brain will go off to like, "Oh, shit, I didn't respond to that email," and then I'll be like, "Okay, no, 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 no. We are reading this fantasy book now. We are in this now. I will handle this after. This is Mandy time." And I think a lot of the times we don't think we deserve that when it's like, with all that we do, like, with all that you do, of course you deserve that. You more than deserve that. You need that in order to keep doing what you do and in order to keep loving what you do.
Again, nail on the head of like everyone's is different, and that's totally okay. 'Cause I even right now found myself being like, oh God, I should read more. And then, but it's like Erin, like circle back, like everyone's is different, everyone, and it's okay, whatever yours is,
Mhm.
and as long as it's not harmful to yourself or to others, like it's totally okay. And that's what I just have to keep reminding myself is like it's totally okay that that is your version of chill time. Someone else's could be yoga, which is amazing. Someone else's could be breathing exercises. Like, and I think if anything, we celebrate all the choices we all make instead of comparing ourselves to like, oh gosh, Mandy read, like I should totally read more, or breathing, whatever it is, or Jay working out. Like it's just a matter of like, your chill time sounds awesome. Like here's my chill time. It's like show and tell.
And it's but it's also, I think it also depends on where we are and what we're needing at that time
Yeah.
because sometimes I'll be so pissed off that I can't read. And Josh will
Yeah.
be like, "Did you get some sunlight in your eyes? Like, did you go outside?" And I'm like, "I don't want to freaking breathe. I don't want to go outside.
Yeah.
Like, leave me alone." And he'll be like, "Okay, well, what do you need?" I'm like, "I don't even know." Like, I'll just be so enraged and I'll just you know what I'll do? I'll just go lay on my floor and I'll just lay on my back. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just laying here because it's all I
Yeah.
can do at the time."
Yeah.
So
Like
it's
if
that
I
self-soothing.
completely. Like if I book a lesson during chill time, which hasn't happened in a while, but if I do, then I won't book anything else after that. Because then I'm
You
like,
know you need
okay,
that.
you're going to be burnt out after that. So why don't you take like tonight? This was my one activity. So this, I guess, this is technically during chill time for me.
"Oh, I'm
But
sorry."
my no. But here's the thing. But after this, I planned. So our wedding reception is next weekend, and so after this, I'm planning to scrapbook our travels from Norway. So I'm like
Fine.
creative
Good.
outlets. I
Wind
get to have this
down.
exactly. I get
You
to have
might
this
cry because 'cause it'll be
voice.
sweet.
I get to have this like amazing conversation with a friend and then afterwards like decompress with some like creative outlet. And that is the new chill time for today. So it you do I think the other thing is too that I was also finding is that I was finding like, oh my God, if I didn't get chill time, I'm like a raging bitch for the rest of the day. Yeah, like, because I was so tunnel visioned, like I can be of like, okay, you need to get this. So
Check
now I've
these
got to
lists.
literally, if I loosen that up, chill time can look like anything if I allow it the space to be there, which has
Yes.
also been
It
something
can
I've had to
evolve.
learn.
Yeah.
And social media, can not help in this situation because sometimes, well, not sometimes, I compare myself all the time to other trainers. And like we talked about before we started recording, like I get sometimes really down on myself that on the weekends I'm not doing dog trials. I'm not doing more dog classes. I'm not, but the weekends for me right now, especially during the summer, are like, that's gardening time. That's
Yeah.
that's horseback riding. That's trail rides. I only can only trail ride for a certain amount of time in the
It's
year.
only a
And like,
short window. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm in a dog dancing group, a dog dancing class. And last year, our competition, I don't know if you remember this, I dropped out, but last year was my first, could have been my first competition. And I got so anxious beforehand. And Darla was also having a lot of seizures around that time. I don't want to say that it coincided, but it could have. And I dropped out because I was like, mental health can't handle this. What am I even doing this for? Like, the ribbons to me do not matter. I know that she can do a lot of cool freaking stuff. And we love doggy dancing. We love going to the class, but it is just a fun thing outlet for us. I try to have a special thing for each one of my dogs to do. And Darla's is doggy dancing, but it's okay if you don't compete, or it's okay if you don't make it to every class. Like, I have found as a dog trainer, I have to just give myself just some loving love sometimes, that it's like, you are not, it's okay if you're not the trial dog trainer. It's okay if you're not the competitive dog trainer. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You know?
Well, and these are all things that I'm sure you say to your clients too. But it's like it never makes it back to us because we like hold ourselves on this like very high up, unrealistic pedestal for no reason whatsoever other than we know how to train our dogs and we know more about behavior. Therefore, we should be up here. And my hand is up above my head out of the screen for those on not watching YouTube. But
And it's like you need one of those Space Jam arms all the way, like let Jordan stand up. It's just
the second I adopted Fern, I was like, "Oh, she's so smart. Like, we're gonna get all these trick titles. I'm gonna do all this with her." I had it listed on my whiteboard for 2 years, haven't done it, and finally realized, like, she's fucking awesome. I don't need all those things for us to feel important. Sure, they would be really great accomplishments, but I have 2 businesses I run and I manage a podcast. I don't have the time. Like, I want time for my husband and time for myself and downtime with my animals. I don't need to do that stuff in order to feel accomplished. Some people do, and I think that's fantastic that they have that drive. But I put way too much effort into my business, and by the time, like, I'm done, I'm like, "I don't wanna train. I'm tired." Like, I wanna chill and read my book.
so funny you say that because on our fridge right now is all 15 tricks for the like do more with your dog trick title. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it, Darla. Like the
Yep.
other day. And I was like, I'm gonna record all these things. I'm gonna get her trick title. And it's like, I didn't. And it's like she can do all of them. Like, what am I trying to prove this to other people? Am I trying to prove this to
Right.
myself? Like, I love her and she is capable of so many cool things. Like, what am I trying to prove right now?
And
And
anyone that follows you on social media, they would know how awesome she is. Like, they don't need to, like, see all your trick titles to know that.
And I think it's sometimes I get stuck in being the troop leader's daughter, like with Darla, like, well, Darla has to be like, she's everybody's idol. And same with Clark, like she should be able to do all these things. But like
Right.
my dogs have their own personalities and they have things they can and cannot do. Like when I went to, so Speak St. Louis is one of the rescues I train for. And every year they host this really cool event that has all these deaf and blind dogs. It's like this
Yeah, you told me
thing.
about that a while back, yeah.
Really cool. We took Darla to one year and she like epically did not like it. Like it was
Oh,
what
buddy.
I think it was is because we were in a warehouse and I think all the dogs playing and the echoing of the sounds.
Overstimulating.
Total. Clark
Oh,
is like
poor baby.
rage against the machine at it and like loves it, but and I just didn't realize. I'm like, okay, this is so interesting. I can see why you wouldn't, but I didn't because she loves other dogs. She loves to play. She loves to be in a big
The
group of dogs.
environment, though.
Exactly. So it's one thing that not even as taking my dog trainer hat off and my friend hat on, our pet guardian hat on is one thing that if anybody who's listening has a dog that has a disability or you've worked with me, like it's okay that your dogs can't do things. I know we push all the time. Our dogs can do so many things. Our dogs are so cool. These dogs are so smart. But it's okay. It's okay that they can't do agility. Like it's okay that they can't do a competition obedience or whatever it is, it's okay. Or it's okay if your dog is too nervous to go hiking because the environment is too much. Like, but that social media does not help with that. And especially circling back to the beginning of our conversation with the fad of a lot of deaf and blind dogs on social media right now, the trainer who trains these dogs compares themselves to you guys. So like if you're listening, like, don't compare to yourself, like I have all the same insecurities you do. And I have to work on that too. That I don't go, I'm like, look at this person who's not a dog trainer doing these really cool things with their deaf and blind dog. I suck,
They're not a
It's
dog trainer, though. They don't have a dog training business. They probably don't work for themselves or operate a business. Like, these are things that we don't think about because we're just seeing this tiny scope on this tiny screen. And then it's like, oh, wait, but that person may work for a big tech company. They may get a salary income. So they have this extra time. Whatever it is, it's going to be different for whoever else it is. I love my sister in law to death. She is practically my sister. I call her my baby sister. And she works for a bigger tech company. So she has a more disposable income. She has an income where she can do more. And there are moments where, of course, I have that comparison of like, well, she gets to go do that. I don't get to do that. I work for myself. I have a tight budget. But then I tell myself, like, you know what? She worked her ass off to get to that point and she deserves it. And our lives are completely different. She does not own two businesses. But it's so polar opposite that, like, why would I ever try to compare that when it's so different? And
and
same,
I'm
like,
totally, completely there with you. And I think one of the things to compare myself to what you just said, one of the things I'm really, this is like super vulnerable. I might get a little emotional, but one of the things I'm like really struggling with is like the thought of children because I really want to be a mom. Like I would freaking love that. I mean, I nurture everything else in my life. Yeah.
I think
But
you'd
like,
be a natural.
thank you so much. But like would have to work as a queer couple so hard to have a kid. But as a couple, I'm queer and my partner is trans. And I hate to say this, but I feel like we're revolving our pregnancy around an election because like trans rights are just so hard right now. And it's when we were in Norway, like it was really hard it was great to like
Take
not
a sip
feel
of
like that.
water really quick.
Yeah. Tissue too.
I love you. No, I'm just saying that because I know you cannot physically cry when you are drinking
Yeah,
water.
thank you. But it's like you have 2 weeks of like that you don't hear that half the country doesn't think you should be like a person or that you should be or a part of the country that like doesn't think you should be parents. And it's hard, it was like that was another, not alone. Not only do I do sometimes burn myself out with dog training, like I burn myself out with always reading about trans rights and laws and queer, LGBTQ rights. And sometimes I actually talked to one of my clients about this who's queer. Sometimes you just have to like not put your head in the sand, but like shut your phone off and be like, I know that this is happening. I'm keeping myself informed. I'm keeping myself informed. I'm keeping myself aware of what's going on, but like I have to take a break. This is so
Right.
overwhelming.
I can't relate to that, but I hate that that is your experience and Jay's experience. I think everyone deserves to feel safe where they live, first of all, first and foremost. Second of all, I feel like most queer and trans couples would be better parents than most
Yeah.
people out there,
I feel that
frankly.
one too.
Like, and
Yeah,
it's
I
just
feel that way too.
I hate that, like, on top of everything else you experience with your business, that is going on in the background that a lot of people may not know you're dealing with because it's so heavy, but that is part of your everyday life, and then you are going on social media and like, "Hey, look at my business, come be my client." Like,
Yeah.
boo, like, of
Yeah.
course you're, like, burnt out and stressed, like, there are so many factors going on in the background that, like, I am in awe of how you do it all, but I know that it weighs on you.
It does, and I know that there's a lot of privilege in me being white, so I really don't wanna take away that either. I know that there are plenty of people in the community that,
Absolutely.
struggle harder as but I'm in a part of the country I'm in technically a safe state, but you have to screen your clients a little bit harder as a queer trainer because you don't wanna walk into a house that you're
You
gonna
feel
feel weird
unsafe.
and
Yeah.
unsafe. You have to again. So I put a picture of Jay and I on my website for a reason because I'm like, look, if you're gonna hire me, you need to know who I am. And there's also a part Jay and I just talked about this last night at dinner. For anyone not on YouTube, I cut off all my hair and there was a lot to that, but I feel very liberated when I have short hair because I feel visible a little bit more. Not that like
Hmm.
hair is a big thing in the queer community. It's like it always kind of has been and so to all my femmes, please do not feel like you have to shave your head, but I feel like when I feel my queerness through my hair a lot, and I
I could see that,
feel
yeah.
proud of that. Like, I'm so proud to be queer. I'm so proud to be in this community. I don't when taking on clients, I almost want them to feel that vibe.
They should, yeah.
'Cause I don't wanna work with you if you, are against who I am,
Right.
obviously. I
Well,
mean,
it's not gonna work out well. Let's stop.
that's totally it's you're right. I think I try to push that burnt out part about trans rights. I try to push that down because I want people to see how proud I am, but it's also hard when you love your spouse with a burning flame and to see multiple states across the country not feel that way. And then to travel to a country for your wedding where for 2 weeks straight, nobody mispronounced your spouse and everyone treated your spouse
Right.
like a normal human being. It was a little life
It's a hard
changing.
slap in the face of, like,
It
just
is.
how shitty America is.
It is,
Parts
yeah.
of
And
America, but yeah.
exactly, and I used to say like, "Oh my god, the world is such a terrible place." I actually changed that after Norway. I'm like, "Parts of the world are a terrible place,"
Right.
like, we made some friends over there, and the way they communicated with us and the way they asked Jay questions, it was just out of pure kindness, and they even said too, like, "There's just some like, we don't know about all Americans," but they were like, "But you 2 are just so kind, and we just wanna be that example for people, but some people just here won't want to see that." So, again, I don't think until this podcast I realized how much I pushed that down, but I do, and that really adds to the burnt outness too.
I hate that, I hate that
Let's
I know, just, like, come here. Like, I love you so much, and I love I don't even know Jay, but I feel like I do because of how much you include them in your business and everything, and it's just I love you both so much, and I hate that you both have to experience that because 'cause you're such now I'm gonna get teared up. You're just such wonderful, incredibly kind people, and you don't deserve that, and it makes me so angry that
I
someone
fe we
ugh,
we feel so grateful to have people like you in our lives. Like, the one thing about the children thing is, like, we have such a safe bubble right now. Like, we have a
good.
community that loves us, and we have people that
Well, and, but I think this is that's what I wanted to say. I think this is so important, and I'm so, so grateful that you came on, that we can talk about this because the dog training community is a huge part queer. And
yeah,
I
which I love.
yes, I like, majority of the dog training community is queer and trans, and I think that they deserve to feel loved and heard and understood and safe. And talking about this more, I hope that they do feel that, just even if it's in this little tiny corner where we're in. Like,
And just to know, like, you're not putting your head in the sand if you can't keep reading all the art. Like, I feel like
it,
you remind
you have
yourself
to tune certain things out. You can't
yeah,
take
and to take a
everything in.
break.
Yeah.
And to take a break from it, like take a break from the business, take a break from all of the articles that you're reading about what's happening. Like just find something that checks you out and to give you that zen. And if I really want to be a mom right now and I'm scratching that itch by like watering my plants and, spending moments in a field with my horse, like fuck yeah, like do that,
Yes.
like that. And it's if you're in the same boat as me that you're like comparing yourself with trials and competitions, like you're doing a great job because half the country right now is battling you, and you're already going against so much that like the average cis straight person just doesn't understand, to give yourself that empathy and to communicate with your loved ones who get it. Sometimes some loved ones don't. And
Right.
that's why I feel so grateful to have my bubble, to have my partner, to have my person, and to have our family. I know I'm not technically a real mom, but I'm an
You
animal
have a
mom.
family. It's a
Yeah,
family.
I have a family and they are my everything. And I just need to let go of the control, let go of what's happening around me, and just feel safe in my bubble. And if anyone who's listening who's trans, queer, any part of the LGBTQ plus community, like give yourself that hug as well, because you're battling a lot more than people probably understand. Mic drop. Just kidding.
Yeah, really, essentially, like, oh my god, like, that was
That's
a
funny.
fantastic way to end that, but, oh my god, Erin, yes, like, yes, and I know that's so much easier said than done to let control go over those things that we cannot be in control of, but I think just taking those little steps, finding little tiny things, having our chill time, whatever it might be, finding that and holding on to that and letting, see where that leads you and expand and just remember to focus on yourself. There was that post I made and it was what someone thinks about you or how you operate your business is none of your damn business. And that's so true because
Love
you
that.
don't need to let that shit in. It's none of your
No.
business what someone thinks of you, what their opinion is of you.
And
You
if
know,
you have a
yeah.
pet, and I'm so sorry to interrupt,
No,
if
no.
you have a pet with a disability and you're listening to this, like you're already working so hard. Like you've
Yes.
already, like give yourself the space to not compare yourself to others. It's none of anybody's business what your dog can or cannot do.
Yes.
And, I'm not trying to sound like a car salesman, but I have a community for you. Like there's all of us feel these feels, and, we're all just here for all of you, that no one is ever alone in whatever community you're in.
It's taking the time to find them, and it's very easy
Yeah,
once you just, like, kinda crack that window open, and then you'll find
literally.
all your people.
And to feel safe there.
Yes, well, yes, that should be the most important part, but yes,
Yeah.
thank you for mentioning that. Erin, I love you so, so, so much, and thank you so much for coming on. This was just whew, this was an episode I didn't even know I needed, and I'm so glad
Me
we got
too.
this out.
I was like, I think this was my chill time. Like, this was great. Thank you. I mean, I didn't, I figured I was going to get a little teary eyed because I wanted to really share a part of myself that I've never shared on a podcast. And I really only felt safe doing that with you. So I just want to thank you for allowing all of these wonderful speakers to be vulnerable and to share some of their heartaches. And you're just like, you're an extremely valuable, needed part of the industry that I'm so grateful to know you on more than one level.
Mwah. And if you like what we're doing here on the Leash Mind podcast and you want to help others find us, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, give us a rating wherever you got your podcasts, whether that's leaving a review on Apple or giving us a star rating on Spotify or just leaving a little R plus on our Facebook page. It's all appreciated. Thank you, and we will be back with another episode.